Okay, a few things before we go back to the regular learning. Number one, tonight's the last night of Kiddush Levana. So if you didn't do Kiddush Levana last night or before that, tonight's the last night to do it. You should do it after Ma'ariv. That's number one. Number two, tomorrow's Pesach Sheni. So tomorrow there is no Tachnun. So the question is, if there's no Tachnun tomorrow, why was there Tachnun today at Mincha? We find an interesting thing coming up this week is also Lag Baomer. And there's two opinions. Everybody says Lag Baomer, you don't say Tachnun. But many opinions in halacha, we'll discuss it in detail in a minute. According to many opinions, out of Lag Baomer you also say Tachnun. We don't. Most people don't. But in Shulchan Aruch there are strong opinions that say that out of Lag Baomer you also say Tachnun. The question is why, let's first talk about Pesach Sheni, then we're going to get to Lag Baomer and talk about the different customs of Pesach Sheni. So number one, because what is the Yom Tov of Pesach Sheni? Because those Jews that were Tamei brought the carbon on Pesach Sheni. When did they bring the carbon? They brought the carbon in the afternoon. Like the first carbon, Pesach, was brought out of Pesach in the afternoon. So tomorrow, when did they bring the carbon Pesach? Those that had to bring it, they brought it tomorrow afternoon. So, like on a regular Friday, Shabbos, the Kedusha of Shabbos begins as soon as Shabbos begins. So therefore, it starts in the afternoon. After midday is already the Kedusha of Shabbos. So therefore, at Mincha, Erev Shabbos, we don't say Tachnun, Erev Yom Tov, or whatever it is. But when it comes to Pesach Sheni, the Yom Tov really begins tomorrow afternoon, because that's when they brought the carbon Pesach. The Yom Tov was because they brought the second Pesach if they didn't bring the first. So because the Yom Tov doesn't really begin until tomorrow afternoon, so we don't say Tachnun and Pesach Sheni. But the Mincha and tonight, if you do Tachnun by going to bed, then tonight you would say Tachnun by Krish Malamita because the Yom Tov actually begins tomorrow morning. It's a custom on Pesach Sheni that you eat matzah. But the question is, when do you eat matzah? Tomorrow during the day or tomorrow night? Because again, tomorrow is Pesach Sheni. So one opinion says you eat matzah during the day of Pesach Sheni. That's what you're eating, the custom. But the guys that brought the carbon Pesach Sheni, when did they eat the carbon Pesach with matzah? Tomorrow night, like the first carbon Pesach. They brought it out of Yom Tov in the afternoon. When did they eat the carbon Pesach? At night. So some people say, when should you eat matzah? Some people say you eat it tomorrow during the day. Other people say you should eat matzah tomorrow night. Because that's when they ate matzah for the carbon Pesach. So there's two different answers from the Rebbe, letters from the Rebbe. The first answer, the Rebbe seems to imply really that you eat matzah Pesach, on Pesach Sheni itself. He wants, if you want, you should also eat at night. So many people eat two times. Because of two opinions. So when it comes to food, you're machmer and you eat both times. So some people, but the real time to eat matzah, if you're going to only eat one time, it should be tomorrow during the day.
You like to machmer?
Okay, you can eat 10 times. You could start tonight and go straight through tomorrow. One matzah per hour. Now, what's with Lag Baomer? This Thursday is Lag Baomer. Friday is Lag Baomer. So, the whole question over here with Sfiras Ha'omer is, when did the Talmidim of Rabbi Akiva stop dying? There's a lot of different opinions brought down in Shulchan Aruch, exactly when the Talmidim stopped dying. Some opinions say they stopped dying, Lag Baomer they didn't die. Other opinions say no, they died on Lag Baomer, but they stopped dying on Lag Baomer. In other words, part of the day, they died, and then on the day of Lag Baomer, they stopped dying. So that is dependent, by the way, in the two opinions. Do you say Tachnun out of Lag Baomer, like this here, Thursday afternoon at Mincha? Do you say Tachnun or not? If they stop dying at the beginning of Lag Baomer, so then the Yom Tov begins at night. So before that, at Mincha, you already don't say Tachnun. But if they stopped dying on Lag Baomer, so then it's Erev Lag Baomer, it's not a Yom Tov. So Erev Lag Baomer, so then you would say Tachnun. But most people now, the Rebbe writes clearly in Siddur that we don't say Tachnun on Lag Baomer or the Erev Lag Baomer at Mincha. Because the whole day of Lag Baomer is a Yom Tif. There's a lot of opinions in halacha. By the way, can you make a wedding the night of Lag Baomer? Does it have to wait until the next day? There's a lot of different opinions, even about making weddings, if you're allowed to make it the night of Lag Baomer. Because according to those opinions that say that they stop dying during the day of Lag Baomer, so then you shouldn't make a wedding the night of Lag Baomer. But there's a lot of things. It's not the discussion, all the opinions now to get into that.
Engagements are allowed.
Engagements, you can even get engaged on Tisha B'Av. I'm not joking. On Tisha B'Av, you can also get engaged. You can't make a l'chaim though on Tisha B'Av. You can't make a, So let's show that.
But the many rabbis we do have a wedding on Lag Baomer.
A lot of people do, a lot of people don't. Nowadays they do generally they do make weddings Lag Baomer because there's not enough time to make so many weddings of many different people during the day of Lag Baomer itself. What's interesting, but if you make a wedding Lag Baomer afternoon, so this year's Friday, it's not Shaykh. But if let's say Lag Baomer would be Sunday, and you start the wedding Sunday afternoon, in the afternoon, late afternoon, as long as the chuppah is before Shkia, then you're allowed to continue music and dancing the night afterwards. But if you started early, I mean if the wedding's still going on, you started Lag Baomer, you can continue music after Lag Baomer. But that's only for weddings, not for bar mitzvahs, not for l'chaims, anything like that. If you have a bar mitzvah, because a chassan is a big sudas mitzvah. The sudas is a sheva brachas, it's a whole thing. If somebody has a bar mitzvah on Lag Baomer, they have to, let's say, to make a simcha with music on Lag Baomer, halachically you have to stop at Shkia. You have to stop at sundown, you can't play any more music. That's it for a bar mitzvah or any other function. But a wedding, it says in halacha, because it's simchas chassan v'kala, it's biblical mitzvah with sudas mitzvah and sheva brachas. So then once you started, that's only though if you started before Shkia, then the chuppah was before Shkia, then you can continue music into the night. What's that? What?
Pesach Sheni, if someone was incapacitated, didn't do their seder, is there anything with
No. Nowadays, no.
Not at all.
We don't have Pesach Sheni today in the practical sense of bringing a Pesach Sheni. If somebody went, let's say somebody was whatever, out of commission, like you said, incapacitated, but so, and now they you can make a seder every night of the year, but you can't make a bracha l'achilas matzah, you can't make a bracha l'achilas maror. If you want to have a seder and eat matzah maror, you could do that tonight too. I mean.
So back in the days, the congregation, only the korban was offered by Pesach Sheni, with the matzah they ate the rice by Pesach?
That night they ate matzah, yeah. The rice. Yeah.
Why would there be the rice these days that follow?
Because there we don't have a Beis Hamikdash, so the whole Korban Pesach doesn't exist. The mitzvah on the night of Pesach, Torah says, it's not relevant to the Korban Pesach. Maror was connected to the Korban Pesach. Because the only mention of maror in the Chumash is al matzah sumreirim yechlu, means the Korban Pesach should be eaten with matzah and maror. There's no mention of maror not related to the Korban Pesach. Matzah, there's a mention clearly, B'erev Teichlo matzahs. So matzahs is not relevant to the Korban Pesach. But the maror is relevant, that's why B'zman Hazeh, it's only with Rabbanim the night of Pesach. Because it's not biblical. What did you want to, what?
When does the whole idea about the not being able to take haircuts and all that, is it after Lag Baomer? Because there's still two different nights.
So there's a lot of different opinions what the inyan of Lag Baomer is with Sfira. A lot of poskim hold after Lag Baomer you can take haircuts, you can do weddings, you can listen to music, you can do a lot of those things. Other opinions say no, you can't, you go from the whole Sfira. According to Kabbalah, that's what we hold, you go the whole Sfira. In other words, some people are lenient. I mean, talking about from people, the Litvisher world is makel, they'll make weddings in the month of Nisan yet. Before Rosh Chodesh, including Rosh Chodesh, they'll make weddings. I'm talking about Litvish great people. They would make weddings in the month of Nisan. The Sfardim and a lot of other people are makel after Lag Baomer. They do weddings and everything. In fact, there's a big shaila in halacha. If an Ashkenazi who keeps after Lag Baomer was invited to a wedding of a Sephardi after Lag Baomer, can he go to the wedding? And the question is even more, can an Ashkenazi Rav perform a Sephardi wedding after Lag Baomer? Instead, because for him, so the Moshe has a tshuva about that, you're allowed to do a wedding. An Ashkenazi Rav could do a Sephardi wedding after Lag Baomer. But I told you an interesting story, I mentioned this probably in the past. There was a guy, I know the story, I was involved a little bit with the guy. He was getting married after Lag Baomer, and Chabad Rabbi was doing the wedding. So he told the Rebbe, he went to the Rebbe 2 weeks before Pesach for dollars because he was going to Eretz Yisrael. So he told the Rebbe, I'm getting married after Lag Baomer. So the Rebbe said to him, we don't make weddings after Lag Baomer. So he told the Rebbe, Rabbi so-and-so said I could. With Chabad Rabbi, he said, it wasn't the Rebbe, it was Chabad Rabbi. And he said to the Rebbe, Rabbi so-and-so told me that I could. So the Rebbe smiled at him and said, ask him again.
Down, Rabbi.
So 1 second, so I'll tell you what happened. The Chabadnik, leave it to Chabadniks, he did the guy's wedding before Pesach. It was 2 weeks before Pesach, he did the guy's wedding before Pesach. And that was fine. But again, the Rebbe, because our minhag is not to make weddings after Lag Baomer, or listen to music, or take haircuts and all that. Now on Lag Baomer itself, even Ashkenazim who, let's say, or keep even after Lag Baomer, but halachically on Lag Baomer you can listen to music, and you can take haircuts. Our custom is not to take haircuts even on Lag Baomer until Mamish Erev Shavuos. We don't even take the 3 preparatory days. Now they're nowadays already they start doing weddings, even Chabad, they started doing weddings starting from Rosh Chodesh Sivan. Not only the 3 Shloshis Me'agbola. There was somebody in this city, they live here now, they got married, they wanted to do their wedding, this is going back a long time ago. Kids are my kids' age, so it's probably 40-something years ago. He wanted to do the wedding in New York, Shloshis Me'agbola. And he was engaged to a very prominent Rav's granddaughter. So he asked the Rebbe about if he can make a wedding in Shloshis Me'agbola. So the Rebbe said to him, you have a Rav in the Mishpacha. Let him paskin. So the grandfather wrote a whole thing to the Rebbe why he held you're allowed to make a wedding in Shloshis Me'agbola. So the Rebbe agreed that they can make a wedding in Shloshis Me'agbola the 3 preparatory days before Shavuos. That means the 5th, Shavuos is the 6th and 7th. So on the 5th, 4th, and 3rd, you can make weddings, you can listen to music. But our custom is we don't take haircuts, mamish, until Erev Shavuos. Lag Baomer we do upshernish, but that's it, no other hair, what?
Going back to Pesach Sheni, people that usually have shmor matzah should have only shmor matzah.
Yeah, the mitzvah, the minhag is to have shmor matzah.
How much? And
Kazayas.
And is it okay to, I've heard, I've never seen it, but with bread as well at the same time, not an issue, right? You can eat matzah together with bread. Someone said, I don't know.
The guy that did the Korban Pesach was allowed to eat bread then.
At the same time.
It doesn't say same time, not same time, but he was allowed to have bread in the house and eat bread. So why can't he do it at the same time? You can make a sandwich. You can make a sandwich of matzah and bread. Stick a matzah inside a pita.
Sounds like a cheeseburger.
Like the Gemara says, as the Gemara says, Hani bavloi tipshoi ninu. The Gemara in Eretz Yisrael, they said, the Babylonians were fools. The ochle nama v'nama. They used to eat bread together with bread. So the Yerushalmi calls them fools because they would eat bread with bread. So if you want to eat matzah with bread, you could, but you're a fool.
And then if you were to take it and make it into matzah bride?
The minig is to eat matzah as it is. That's not really matzah. It's not, the minig is eat matzah. You have to eat a kazayis, but again, if you want to do on the Tzilas Yadayim with the bracha, you have to eat 2 kazayis. But you can have a kazayis matzah and kazayis and bread. Anyway, okay.